Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night for people who are in areas like where I am, because actually it is going to 2 a.m. and it is at night. It is truly an honor to be here today at the NEPAL Global South Summit, sharing this platform with such passionate leaders and change makers. My name is Dr. Christine Obaigwa Owenyi, and I wear many hats, but at the core of it all, I am a firm believer in the power of education and sustainability to transform individuals, communities, and our shared planet. I am a global advocate for education for sustainable development, a mentor and a community leader. Over the years, I have worked with educators, policymakers, and youth to integrate sustainability principles into education systems across Africa and beyond. I believe that leadership without mentorship is a failing legacy. For me, every step I take in advancing the Sustainable Development Goals is about empowering others, especially our youth and educators. So they too can become agents of change. I move with the slogan that education for sustainable development can transform the world. Today, as we discuss Sustainable Development Goal number 13 on climate action, Sustainable Development Goal number 7 on affordable and clean energy, and Sustainable Development Goal number 11 on sustainable cities and communities, I invite you to think about this. What role are you playing today to create a world where future generations can thrive? It is not just about leaving behind a better world. It is about equipping people with the knowledge, the right skills and values to build that better world themselves. Most leaders are struggling to build it. It is not enough to struggle to build it. Go out and equip the people, the young people who are supposed to do it by themselves and for themselves. Together, let's amplify impact, foster innovation, and drive action to create a sustainable future for all. I look forward to sharing and learning from all of you. Now, if I have to start with goal number 13, thank you for this opportunity to address this critical sustainable development goal. Goal number 13 is all about climate action. Climate change is no longer a distant threat. It is an urgent crisis affecting lives and livelihoods across the globe. Its impact is devastating. Severe droughts, floods, rising temperatures, and unpredictable weather patterns are actually disrupting economies, food systems, and ecosystems. Climate change affects the most vulnerable populations disproportionately, pushing communities deeper into poverty and uncertainty. For instance, in Kenya, we witness firsthand how the changing climate disrupts livelihoods. Extended droughts in regions like northern Kenya, which have led in massive losses in agriculture and livestock, which are actually the key sources of income for families in this region. Thus, leaving behind communities that are struggling to survive. On the other hand, erratic floods in places like Western Kenya displace families, destroying infrastructure, and threaten food security. Smallholder farmers who depend on predictable rainfall now face an uncertain future. The same way, if I have to look at where I am now, London, Ontario, we just faced a storm of snow, yeah? While experiencing milder direct impacts, we are also feeling the effects of climate change through sometimes what I just said, severe storms, rising temperatures, shifting seasons. You are not sure when exactly winter can be predicted, when summer can be predicted. However, the region has adopted policies and initiatives to mitigate some of these challenges, such as green energy transitions, community-led tree planting projects, and sustainable urban planning to reduce carbon footprints. If you look at what Canada is doing and what Kenya is doing, I think there is something that countries in Africa need to learn from the developed countries, because if it is anything, even if it is like a storm that is affecting humanity, there is always a quick action to salvage humanities. For instance, a call that no transport available, schools are closed. So to keep children safe, to keep everybody safe at home, the urgency of climate action demands that we match local solutions with global frameworks. For instance, Kenya's grassroots initiatives like climate smart agriculture, reforestation programs, community-driven awareness campaigns, education for sustainable development initiatives, etc., actually offer some hope and innovation. These efforts, when supported by global partnerships, policy frameworks, and technology, can transfer and can inspire impactful solutions that can benefit both the local and the global contexts. The call is clear. We must act now, act together, and act sustainably to secure our planet for future generations. Climate change does not recognize borders, and neither should our solutions. Together, through collaborative climate action, we can build resilience, restore ecosystems, and protect livelihoods across all communities. Now, thinking about sustainable development goal number 7, affordable and clean energy. I have very few minutes. That is why I have to talk about what I have to talk about before my minutes are done. Access to affordable and clean energy is actually the backbone of sustainable development. Energy fuels economies, drives innovations, and improves quality of life. Yet millions of people, particularly in developing countries, still live without access to reliable energy. This gap hinders progress and limits opportunities and exacerbates inequalities. For instance, in Kenya, let me talk about the country that I know about, my country, Kenya. Clean energy is emerging as a game changer. The country has made significant strides in harnessing renewable energy. With over 75% of Kenya's electricity now generated from clean source like geothermal, wind, hydro, and solar power. Notable examples include, let's say, Lake Turkana wind power project, which is Africa's largest wind farm, and the expansion of geothermal energy from the Olkarau fields, which power homes, businesses, and industry sustainably. However, rural electrification still faces challenges because many communities depend on wood and charcoal, that is firewood and charcoal, leading to deforestation and health risks like air pollution, because the smoke that comes from firewood and charcoal is not so good to our health. In contrast, if you look at London, Ontario, where I'm living right now, London, Ontario has embraced clean energy innovations through advanced technologies and policies. The city is prioritizing energy efficiency with initiatives like transitioning to renewable energy sources, reducing carbon emissions, and promoting electric vehicles. The focus is on reducing dependency on fossil fuels while creating accessible, affordable energy solutions for households and industries. For instance, if I have to take Uber, I usually go for the green vehicles that do not use gas. I go for the clean vehicles that actually use clean energy. That is the electric vehicles. The comparison between Kenya and Canada highlights both progress and opportunities for collaboration. In Kenya, renewable energy is abundant, but still requires greater investment in infrastructure and equitable distribution to rural areas. In Ontario, where I am, there is a strong emphasis on technology and policy innovation that can serve as a model for integrating sustainability into energy planning globally. The Agency for Sustainable Development Goal lies in its role as an enabler for all other sustainable development goals. Clean energy empowers education, clean energy drives industries, improves health systems, and lifts communities out of poverty. To achieve this, we must invest in energy innovations that are affordable and scalable. We must also invest in cross-sector partnerships to share technology and expertise, and also invest in policies that ensure clean energy reaches the last mile. No community should be left behind. Affordable, clean energy is not a privilege. It is a right and a necessity. Together, we can build a world where everyone, regardless of where they live, benefits from the power of clean, sustainable energy. I want to challenge the people in the line of energy to look at this and do something about it, because in my line of education, I am doing something. What are you doing now that you're an expert in that line of energy? Going to Sustainable Development Goal number 11, which talks about sustainable cities and communities. As our world urbanizes at a very high rate, cities have become the epicenter of economic growth. Cities have become the epicenter of innovation and cultural diversity. For instance, where I am, we are from different cultures. And so diversity is just like, it is the thing. However, they are also the focal points of challenges like overcrowding, inadequate infrastructure, pollution, and unequal access to opportunities. Sustainable Development Goal number 11 aims to make cities inclusive, 1, safe, 2, resilient, 3, and sustainable for all. In Kenya, if I look at cities like Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, these cities are actually experiencing rapid urbanization driven by rural to urban migration. And there is a lot of population growth. While urban centers provide opportunities, they also struggle with overcrowding and informal settlements. For instance, nearly 60% of Nairobi's populations live in informal settlements like Kibra, Mathare, and others, where access to clean water, sanitation, and housing remain a challenge. So it poses a challenge to the leaders in the country. Again, if you look at what is happening in Nairobi, there is traffic congestion and pollution. Limited public transport options have led to reliance on private vehicles and motorbikes, increasing carbon emissions and urban inefficiencies. There is also the challenge of waste management. Cities are grappling with solid waste disposal, with many landfills overflowing and unsustainable practices straining the environment. That said, there is, there is hope, because there are promising initiatives to address these challenges. For example, we have the Nairobi Green Spaces Project. We have the Education for Sustainable Development model centers across the country, which are actually trying their best to ensure that something is being done. For instance, the Nairobi Green Spaces Project is revitalizing public parks to improve urban environments, while the government's affordable housing initiative aims at providing dignified housing for underdeserved communities. I'm just hoping that transparency and fairness will apply so that this is done equitably. In London, Ontario, where I am, the approach to sustainable urban development offers valuable lessons. The city has implemented smart urban planning to integrate public transport systems, green spaces, and walkable neighborhoods, reducing emissions and improving livability. And then we have community-based housing project, whereby energy efficient buildings are being prioritized, as well as affordable housing solutions. Although those of us who are coming from out of Canada are feeling like it is still expensive, there is also the waste and resource management programs where like composting initiatives and recycling systems to minimize environmental impact is critical. The contrast between Kenya and Canada highlights the need for context-specific solutions. While cities like Nairobi require immediate interventions in infrastructure, housing, and waste management, cities in Canada like London are focused on refining systems to achieve long-term sustainability and climate resilience. To achieve goal number 11 globally, let me now say everybody should think about this. We must prioritize urban planning, very critical. Urban planning that leaves no one behind, whether it is in Nairobi's informal settlements regions or the eastern, western, northern parts of the country, or the underdeserved communities in Canada, and so on and so forth. Something has to be done. Another thing that we must prioritize is the investments in public transport and green infrastructure. This will help to reduce carbon footprints and promote sustainability mobility. And then we also need to think about empowering communities. This is very, very, very important. Through participatory planning processes, ensuring citizens are active drivers of change because they are informed. That is why at the Global Alliance for Sustainability in Education that I am leading as the CEO, we have purposed to empower leaders and the young people every week, at least for 2 to 2.5 hours every week. So every Sunday, we have a program where we are just talking about sustainable development. We're talking about education for sustainable development, because we know education for sustainable development is a way of life. Education for sustainable development is the only way that can enable us achieve what we want to achieve if we have to empower communities. A truly sustainable city is not just about building and infrastructure. It is about people. It is about creating communities where everyone, regardless of their background, has access to opportunities, has access to clean environments, and a quality of life that respects both humanity and the planet. Let us reimagine cities as thriving, equitable, and sustainable spaces for all. It is unfortunate that this summit was not addressing goal number 4, which is on quality education. But allow me just to say that education is the cornerstone for sustainable development, empowering individuals and societies to break the circles of poverty, inequality, and exclusion. Sustainable development goal number 4 calls for inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong learning opportunities for all. It is us to do that. Those of us who have already gone ahead and know what needs to be done, we have to support our governments to implement what we need to implement to ensure that these goals are achieved by the year 2030. Thank you for allowing me to delve into all this. And please, if I have to talk about education for sustainable development, I'll take the whole day. Because education for sustainable development is more than just an approach. It is a transformative way to empower learners to think critically, act responsibly, and contribute meaningfully to their communities and to the world. Education for sustainable development is the key to achieve sustainable development goals from number 1 through to goal number 17, but especially goal number 4, because it equips individuals with the knowledge, the skills, values, and attitudes that are needed to address the complex challenges in our time, from climate change to inequality. Education for sustainable development, for example, in Kenya, is being integrated into the competency-based curriculum to align learning outcomes with sustainability goals. And then in Kenya, we initiated, when I was working with the government of Kenya at the Ministry of Education under Kenya Education Management Institute, we initiated model centers for education for sustainable development across the country that are rising every other time because of the ripple effect. Teachers are being trained to incorporate concepts like environmental conservation, renewable energy, and social economic resilience into their lessons. Practical initiatives such as school greening programs and climate smart agriculture clubs are fostering a hands-on approach to sustainability from an early age. However, scaling these efforts require further investment in teacher training, especially resources and infrastructure. If I have to look at what is happening in London, Ontario, because I'm equally working with the education sector through the London Children's Connection, ESG principles are seamlessly woven into the education system. Schools are emphasizing critical thinking, environmental stewardship, and global citizenship, encouraging students to take active roles in sustainable practices. Programs like eco certification for schools, outdoor experiential learning, and integration of indigenous knowledge ensure that students are not only learning about sustainability, but living it. ESD teaches us holistic learning, that education must go beyond academics to address emotional intelligence, ethical reasoning, and community engagement. It also teaches us lifelong learning. Sustainability requires learning opportunities that span a lifetime, engaging people of all ages in building resilient societies, as well as collaboration, because ESD emphasizes the importance of partnerships. I believe that is why we are on this summit, because of partnerships. Partnerships between organizations, partnerships between schools, between governments and governmental organizations and communities, etc., to create impactful, scalable programs. Integrating education for sustainable development globally is important because training educators, for instance, empowers the teachers, empowers the educators to embed sustainability into all aspects of the curriculum, which is very critical. We must also be able to come up with localized solutions, tailoring education for sustainable development to local context, which ensures relevance and ownership by the community. Not leaving behind the global citizenship education, because global citizenship education is part of ESD, embedding education for sustainable development into global citizenship education fosters awareness of global challenges and the interconnectedness of all humanity. By integrating ESD into the SDGs, we are not just preparing students to succeed academically, we are nurturing responsible citizens and visionary leaders who are equipped to address the urgent global and local challenges of our time. Together, let us commit to make education for sustainable development a cornerstone of education systems everywhere, ensuring that education truly becomes the bridge to a sustainable and equitable future. And as I wind up, I want to appreciate the organizers of this summit, because without somebody going ahead to organize something, then nothing will happen. Thank you for inviting us to come on board just to share what we think, what we know, and work for the globe. Thank you so much. Let us amplify the impact, because it is possible. We can all make a difference, because all of us have got something in us that we can do. So get out and do it and make a difference. Go make a difference. Thank you very much. I also want to appreciate all my supporters, all the teachers, all the educators who come online every Sunday to learn, to share knowledge, and to work with us as we talk about sustainable development goals every week. And so I want to invite everybody on this platform to join us. If you want to get the links to the Sunday meetings, you can visit us on www.GASE.global. GASE is GASE global.org. So if you get there, if you go to our Facebook page, which is the same, you can still get the link. You're welcome, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.